polynomial isn't, right? So here's what. We're going to have a chain of little number chunks. And the little number chunks will have a first name, like 7, and it will have a last name, like a variable, like x, right? And I want that to go away. Let's see if I can make that come back. There we go. Stop that. I don't know what your problem is here. There we go. Sometimes the x will have different powers, like to the 3rd power, or to the 13th power, or even sometimes to the 0 power. And when it's 0, it actually just becomes 1 and goes away, right? But let me tell you, there are 2 things that cannot show up in a polynomial. 2 things. Number 1 thing that cannot show up in a polynomial. So this is here's polynomial, and here is me making this whole thing like, ooh, bad. These would be bad. These 2 things can't show up. Number 1 thing that can't show up is any variable with a negative exponent. And let me tell you why. Because a negative exponent turns that baby into a fraction. And that is not called a polynomial. That is called a rational function. That is our next chapter, right? So that's why none of these will have negative exponents. The other thing that they can't have is they can't have fraction exponents. Because what fraction exponents really are square roots. And those are called radical functions. And we do that later on, right? So today we're doing anything that has 0, 1, 2, 3 whole number exponents for our variable. Now tomorrow we're going to play a game, and it will be a way to compete with someone. It's got dice. It's kind of fun. I think you'll like it. But it's all about giving a polynomial 2 names. And every polynomial has a first name and a second name, and these are how we name polynomials. So you're going to fill out your chart along with me. The first way we name them is by their biggest exponent. So the exponent is one way we can name them. So if you have a polynomial, a little polynomial, and it has, don't talk over me, okay? Thanks. So if it's the number 7, just got the number 7, and it's got no variable whatsoever, that dude is called a constant. You need to write that down. Because part of your test or quiz, when we have it, is I will give you something like number 4, and you're going to have to tell me the 2 names it has. And you'll see in a minute how to do that. So if we have a number like 7, that's called a constant. It has no variable. The second thing that can happen is that you might have the number 7 with an x to the first, or just an x. And if you have that dude, he is called linear. That's anytime you have a variable to the first power. Now maybe around this time you're starting to get the hang of it. If you have 7x to the second power, does anyone remember what anything to the second power is called? We did those 2 last week. What kind of functions were those? Those were called quadratic. You got it. So linear, constant, quadratic. Okay. What if I had 7x to the third power? Anything to the third power. Does anyone remember what that's called? Cubic. It's called a cubic. You got it. They get weird now. 7x to the fourth power. And notice the 7 doesn't matter. That's called the coefficient. It's the variable. So anything to the fourth power. Anyone remember what that's called? It's got a weird name. Quartic. Quartic. Like a quart. Quartic. And the last one is anything to the 5th power is called quintic. Quintic. Like quintic. Tarantino. Quintic. Anything above that, they don't name. Okay, so we look at these babies by their biggest exponent, right? That's one way to look at them. The other way to look at them is imagine here I am, here's my little head, here is my little neck, and I have a necklace, and on my necklace I have one little number chunk. That's my necklace, a little 4x, just one little number chunk. If your necklace has one little number chunk, it is called a monomial. If someone gives you a very beautiful math necklace and it has two little number chunks, like 4x squared plus 7, ooh, two beautiful little number chunks. It's called a binomial. If someone loves you and they get you an even prettier necklace, look up a little smiley face, and it's got 3, like 7x to the 3rd, it's got 3 of them, doesn't even matter. This could be to the 10th, 1, 2, 3. It's called a trinomial. And then we get tired of doing this. And anything else, if it's got 4 parts or 5 parts or 10 parts, we're like, screw it. We're just going to call it a polynomial. Okay, so what the game will be tomorrow is I will give you a bunch of these. And you and your partner are going to race to see who can give them their first and last name. I'm going to do number 1 with you, and then you're going to try to do these with your table mates. Are you ready? So here's what number 1 looks like. So number 1, we're going to look at it in 2 ways. Oh, say that again. Number 1. So close. That's to the first power. Linear binomial. Perfect. Perfect. Linear binomial. Nice. Nice, Jason. So, do me a favor with your neighbors. See how fast you can do this. See if you can race them. Do 2 through 6 for me. 2 names. It's got a first name, which is the degree, and a second name, which is how many chunks there are. It would be a quintic trinomial. Very nice. Constant monomial. Nice, nice, nice. Monomial. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Monomial. Monomial. Don't judge me. Monomial, binomial, trinomial, polynomial. That's what you would do. Quintic, try. Constant. Constant ma. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cubic. Poly. You don't need that slash. I'm just doing it because I'm lazy. 1, 2, 3. Quad. Try. And quart. Mon. An example of a cubic binomial is going to be like x to the 3rd plus 7. Done. Nice and easy. And an example of a linear monomial is like 7x. Right? Got an x. Got 1. We good? So tomorrow that'll be our game. And you can kick some of the butt and win fabulous food prizes. There you go. Okay. So here's what. Now that we know that basic names, our job for the next 2 weeks will be to break these babies apart and solve them and graph them. That's where we're heading. Do we have those crazy graphs where we know if they go up and down? Yes. Will we have some new stuff in there? Yes. Will we have synthetic division? Yes. All my favorites. I feel like I'm doing like that. Synthetic division. Love me some synthetic division. So here's what we're doing today. We are trying. The reality is this, though. Remember when I told you in math and life, we can only add things, like add a 1 or take a 1 away? In algebra, we only really know how to do a problem like this. We only know how to solve little baby problems. That's really all we know how to do. Like this would be -3, and this would be 5. So the problem is, how do I take something that's got too many parts and break it apart? So today we're going to talk about how easy it is. We're going to spend 2 days learning all the tricks that took us a week to learn last year. So here we go. First way, number one, if you've got too many pieces, vacuum some out. This is the Mrs. Tarantino way. It's called vacuum factoring. The real way that you guys learn in Algebra 2 tricks is called monomial factoring.
Hannah,
Yes.
that looks like something, but the pieces are put in the right places.
It's a vacuum.
I'm talking about the top.
Stop it.
Top of the vacuum is to get shelves.
You guys are ruining my stuff. Okay, so here's what. I need to, today we're not solving, we're just factoring. So I'm looking at this bad boy, he's got too many parts. So I need to vacuum some stuff out. What could I take out of this guy to make the problem easier?
4.
A 4? Anything else? And an A. So I'm left with A squared minus 11A plus 10. I'm going to factor that and say A minus 10, A minus 1, 4A. That is the answer. I have factored that too. I took out the 4A before I started. And then that's just regular, that's regular X factoring. Regular X factoring. Right? I took something that was scary looking and I just broke it apart. Right? And tomorrow we'll start solving these, saying, okay, now let's get our answers out. But for today, I just want to factor it. So there's this part, and this part. Right? Nice and easy. So here we go. One for you to try. Too much stuff up there. Ooh, too scary. So take some stuff out before you start, and then X factor it. But I'm going to give you a little hint. My factor rainbow. So, these things. We always want to make it simpler, though, before we start. Again, I think a lot of the Algebra 2 trick kids didn't learn my little rainbow method, which is fine. Do what you do to factor this baby with a number in front. But before I start, I'm going to take out an x squared and a 3 to make it easier. 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. And factor that bad boy. This is called monomial factoring. We're taking a scary problem and making it easier. For my friends who like this goofy Mrs. Tarantino way, factors of 2 that make -3, it's going to be -2 and -1. X minus 2, X minus 1. Don't forget, I got to use that 2 times. Boom, boom. So here's what I get. X minus 1. If you like X minus 1/2, that's an okay answer. I know a lot of your teachers were last year. It's like, no, you need to put that 2 in the front. You don't, because we're going to be solving these anyway. So you can leave it like that. But my answer key has it like this, because that's the fancy way. You want to do that, you can. That is not the correct answer. What am I forgetting? The 3x squared. He has to go in front. Jordan, talk to me, baby.
On the test, can you put X minus 1/2?
Yes, yes.
And that'll get me there.
Absolutely, because here's what. Later, the only reason you ever factor is to freaking solve. So why am I undoing it and doing it again? Okay.
I'm not learning anything to do that.
Tomorrow we're doing that 4-part, factoring our parts. Maybe you take something out of the front, and do that. Yeah, like, see, like, I like that look on your face. Okay, what about this news? So x to the 4th, obviously it's too big. I got too much stuff up there. I'm gonna vacuum stuff out. Maybe I'll take some x's out of this guy and some x's out of this guy. Uh-oh, I don't have any x's to take out of that guy. So I can't vacuum factor it. Maybe I can take some stuff out of the numbers. Well, there's no numbers to take out. So here's what. We're going to have to use a different technique. And that technique is called, if you want to write this down, factoring in the quadratic form. And when I show this to you, you'll be like, oh, I remember this. So here's what. That problem, I don't know how to do. But this problem, which is almost exactly the same I do know how to do. That would just be x factoring, right? So what are the factors of negative 20 that make negative 1? Negative 5 and 4? Yeah, are we good? So I would say x squared minus 5, I'm sorry, x minus 5, x plus 4. But wait, I don't have 2, I have 4 of them. And he's remembering what I'm going to do with the 4 instead. I'm going to split them up. I'm going to give 2 to this guy and 2 to this guy. And watch what happens. If I clawed it, it would totally work. So watch this. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to prove it to you. Plus 4x squared minus 5x squared, bless you, minus 20. That turns out to be negative x squared. So here's what you need to take away from this. You can use this cool trick if 3 things happen. You ready to see the 3 things? The 3 things. First thing, that dude needs to be an even number so I can split it up. If it's 8, it'll be 4 and 4. If it'll be 10, it'll be 5 and 5. If it's 7, I got problems. Second thing is, this guy has to be half of this guy, right? So it'd be 10 and 5, or 12 and 6, or 6 and 3. And then finally, this guy needs to be naked, because it won't work if it's not. So here we go. Let's take a look at it. So I'm just looking at this guy. He looks scary to me. First thing I always want to do, can I vacuum him? No, nothing comes out. So the next thing I think, oh, maybe I can use that trick. That's even, yay. That's half, yay. That's naked, yay. So what do? I do it just regular old x factoring. Factors of 5 that add up to be 6 are going to be 5 and 1. And I'm going to go a plus 5, a plus 1. But wait, what do I do with the 6? Split it up. 3 goes to this guy, 3 goes to this guy. How is that? You guys kind of remember that? A little bit? Maybe. You guys want to try one? Yay. Here we go. Oh, wait a second. Let's see. That's not even. I got too many X's up there. So what should I do before I even start this bad boy? Factor out the X's, right? Take out those X's and then do it. Go for it. Give it a try. Too many X's. Get rid of some of those X's. And then see if our little magical technique is happening. Even, half, naked, go for it. Regular X factor. Just don't forget, split up the 4, right? This is called factoring in a quadratic form. I like this. Minus 10, minus 6. Yep. Beautiful. And Justin remembered to keep that X out front, which was awesome. He went minus 10, X minus 6, and then he thought, wait a second, split that guy up. That's what he got. How'd you do?
Is there, on like the test, are we gonna have to is you probably have to prove it by quantum or something?
No, but you gotta have to know that you have to spot the method. Because we'll have a bunch of different ones and be like, okay, spot the method.
So, it's gonna be like find out.
Yeah. And then someone would be like, we need to use synthetic division first. Keep going. You need a Chromebook?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think you can use that calculator, that computer that's sitting right there. Okay, so here's what. Last one, best one. I'm shutting up early, letting you have time in class to work, and checking off our thing from Friday. This is everything. It's everything we've done, how to bake. So, will you have to vacuum? Yes. Will you have to quadratic form? Yes. Will you have to rainbow? Oh, sure. This is everything. First, make the problem easier. I'm keeping Elena awake. I'm keeping you awake. I'm not trying. Take stuff out. Take some X's out. Take a 3 out. Make a scary problem easier first. Then start doing stuff. Sorry. Whatever you want to do.
Plus 5.
Wait, if you're doing X, you do X. Let's do next.
Oops.
That's not how many times.
How do we get rid of that? Okay, oh, you do like 3. Oh, so you do 3 after you take away the
Be careful on this one. There's 2 3s that we have to deal with. There's this 3. This 3 is separate. Just take this dude, just set him off to the side to the end, and then you put him back in at the very end. He's completely separate. Yeah,
where's the X
that's
going at?
so I said x plus 6, x minus 1. We're going to deal with that 3.
Is that X for me, though?
No, but what? How do you get rid of the X there?
I took out x and an x and an x from everybody.
Isn't that X for me?
Oh, because that's how I just wanted that for the.
Isn't that X for me?
When I get there.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, it's so fast. That's really bad. The answer on the answer key would not look like this. Here's what it would look like. It would look very close. It would look like this for you fancy people who want to do what my software does. My software puts it in this form. Do you need to? I'm cool with that fraction. My software. I use software. Software. Detention for Tim. Look, everybody, after 2 years for you guys who've been with me, new color. Very soothing. Wow, that's what it's called. So, it's a soothing color. I don't.
White.
I found white. It's very white. Color motion.
Yeah, most of
Before you dive into this, I'm going to cut some stuff off for you.
it don't matter.
That's a different thing.
Yes, it is. It's different. Yes, that was the one we took out at the very beginning. So, yeah, that's actually different. Yes.
He's smarter.
Take away.
So here's what, first thing is, I'm going to check off the, thing that we did up at the teacher's lounge. And if you weren't there and you have the yellow one instead, I'll take the one, but I gotta be honest, that is a hell of a lot of math, but I want to give credit for credit to you, because that's a blessing. Second thing is this, I sequence these problems when I write them. So I have software that helps me write, but I write them. So here's why. I don't need you to do all 14 of these, but I don't want you to cut off 4 at the end because I need you to get through them. So here's my advice. You guys ready? I would like you to do either all of the odds or all of the evens, your pick, and then do 3 additional problems on the other column. Does that make sense? So do, Kristen is watching, 1 whole column, and then 3 additional problems on the other column. I don't care which one you do. I don't. But I need you to get through 1 whole column because I do these I write them in an order. Like I start easy and I build up, right? So I don't want you just to do the easy ones and not get to the more challenging ones. I also don't want to, that's all I'm saying. So all of one column and 3 additional columns. You'll finish in class. You guys have 15 minutes and you will have no homework. And I wanted to start nice and easy because it's a Monday. So good job, everybody. Goodbye, absent people.